Hey guys, what's going on? Jaime Soriano here from Long Island, New York, and just wanted to cut this training video here for you. It's been a while since I've been posting on my personal blog, and it's because I've had some offline projects that I'm excited about that I've been working on, but I've been meaning to come back to my blog, and I have so much content that I want to put up. So if you've been following my blog, if maybe you're new to my blog. Make sure you stay tuned. Get on my email list if possible, which is actually the best way to stay up with what's going on. Get my updates, get my training content. Every time I do a new blog post, I'm going to be blasting it through my email list. And so if you haven't gotten on my email list, I'm going to leave a link somewhere in this video, depending on where you're watching it. And just get on there, okay? You're going to get some free training, some content. And what I want to do in this video is really just break down 10 critical keys to building a profitable home business and why most people screw it up, right? Because, whether you're building an affiliate marketing business, whether you're building a network marketing business, whether you're selling your own product, or maybe you're offering coaching services, if you're building a business from home, specifically in the network marketing, affiliate marketing niche, there's certain things that you need to understand right out of the gate that'll actually help you stack the deck in your favor. I've been in this industry now for, 18 years, and I've seen a lot of people come, I've seen a lot of people go, I've seen some amazing things, travel the world, do some, some incredible things with my family because of this industry. But on the other side, I've also seen some crazy things, right? I've seen, I've seen some, bad things happen. I've seen some people who've had some incredible potential just kind of get blown out of the water. And it's because of the keys that I'm going to talk to you about here. So again, if you're in the network marketing, affiliate marketing, make money from home niche, I think this is going to benefit you and you're going to get tremendous value. So, grab a notepad. If you can, just jot down some notes, or just, rewind this video and watch it a couple of times. Okay. It's gonna, depending on the length of the video, I might break it up into, two videos. Or it might be just one long one. So depending on how it goes here. But here's step one. Okay. Number one thing I want you to do first and foremost is follow me on social media. Okay. If you're not connected with me on Facebook, here's my Facebook link right here. Or you can follow me on Instagram. Those are probably the best ways to stay up to date with what's going on. I usually post, a couple times a day on those websites. Obviously, if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, subscribe to me on YouTube. But again, as I mentioned before, the easiest way to stay up to date with everything that's going on is just make sure you're on my email list. Okay. So again, I'm going to leave a link somewhere around this video, depending on where you're watching it. Some of you guys might be on my website. Maybe you're on YouTube. Maybe you're on, somewhere, you're on Facebook. You're somewhere watching this video. Just keep an eye out for a link and just make sure you get on that list. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into the information here, because there is a lot of information now, and I want to kind of go through this as quickly as I possibly can, because I know time is valuable, and if you're building your business on a part-time basis, then time is really of the essence, right? So number one, you have to have the right expectations. Okay, you have to have, when you're going into a business, I don't care if it's network marketing, if it's a traditional business, there's expectations, right? If you ask any traditional business owner, what was their plan when they got into, their business or when they were starting their business? And most of them, okay, the successful ones at least, they had a blueprint, right? They had a plan, okay? The first year we're going to do this. The second year we're going to do this. By the end of the first 5 years, hopefully we want to be at this place. They had a plan, so they had the right expectations. They didn't go in and, the first hiccup or road bump they hit, they were like panicking and, ready to quit, right? Because they had a plan. They had the right expectations going in. Well, if traditional business owners think like that, what makes you any different just because you're building your business from home, right? If you're in a network marketing business, you have to have the right expectations. You're not going to go into your business and, within your first 30 days, if you're not making $10,000 a month, think that it doesn't work. That's just not, that just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make business sense, right? You have to have the right expectations. So, you might want to get with your sponsor, your upline, or, depending on your situation, but, really lay down a plan and say, what, if I put my, if let's say you're building your business part-time, you might sit down with them and say, if I put 20 hours a week into this business, what is realistically or stretchingly realistic is probably a good term to use, right? What is a stretchingly realistic, position of where I should be in 1 year, right? Where should I be in 2 years? Where should I be in 3 years? Where should I be in 5 years? And if they're, if they're honest with you, they'll tell you, they'll help you set up the right expectations, right? If they say, well, in 90 days you should be making $10,000 a month. You've never done any type of business like this, right? You're starting from scratch. You're going through a learning curve, but in 90 days you should be able to fire your boss and make $10,000 a month. If they say that, then they're just not being honest with you, right? Because it just doesn't work that way. It takes, when I first got into this industry, it took me 3 years. Okay, it took me 3 years to get to a point where I hit my first 5-figure month. When I crossed the $10,000 a month mark, it took me 3 years, maybe 3.5 years of grinding it out and learning. I was brand new to the industry. I was going through a learning curve. I was just learning how to deal with people. I was working on self-development. My first 12 months, I probably made $1,800. Not for the month, for the year, for my first 12 months, right? Now, I could have sat there and said, you know what, this doesn't work. I'm going to quit, right? But thankfully, I had mentors that laid out the right expectations for me, right? And see, in this industry, what I've noticed, especially recently, is there's so much hype. There's so much smoke and mirrors. There's people saying, well, in 90 days, you can be making $10,000 a month. You do nothing and you'll be making, so much money. It just doesn't work that way. This is a business, right? And if you're going to be successful in any business, you need to have the right expectations, right? So for me, thankfully, even though I made, $1,800 for my first 12 months, I was looking at this as a long-term thing. I was looking at this as, a business that I can have in the future, right? And so I kept my full-time job. And I was just, learning the ropes and learning how to do this business. That's the way I looked at it. My second year, I think in my second year, I got to a point where I started to make like $2,000 and $3,000 a month, right? Between $2,000 to $3,000 a month. And, here's the thing. Some of you guys might say, well, that's amazing. I would love to be in that position. But I went full time after a couple of, my second year, I was already full time. So when you look at it that way, right, full time, and you're making, what's $2,000 to $3,000 a month, between $24,000 and $36,000 a year. I mean, that's like a minimum wage job, right? So most people would say, that doesn't work. See, you're killing yourself. You're working all these hours. You're out till all hours of the night. You're working the weekends. You're out doing these meetings. You're out there talking to people, and you're making $2,000 to $3,000 a month. It just isn't working. But again, I was looking at this thing for down the road, right? And then once I got to my third year, I blew past my $10,000. Then I got to a point where I was making 20. Then I made 30, and then, long story short, in that company that I was in, I made over $1 million in cumulative commissions, right? In the couple of years that I was there. But if I based it on my first year, I probably would have quit. I probably would have said, you know what, this doesn't work. And so my point being is this: you need to have the right expectations. Don't think you're going to come in with no experience and no following, no whatever, and be making crazy money overnight. It just doesn't work that way, right? So you're not going to make $10,000 per month overnight. And again, it's going to take you 3 to 5 years to build a strong foundation for your business. Now, that doesn't mean that after 3 to 5 years, you can kick your heels up and say, I'm not going to do anything. The money's going to pour in. Again, this is a business, right? I'm saying in 3 to 5 years, you'll have the foundation, right? And maybe you're not going to be out there, as much, but you're still going to be recruiting people, right? You're still going to be leading people. You're still going to be mentoring people. You're still going to be putting on calls, going to events, the things that you need to do to build your network marketing business. But just understand that it's going to take you 3 to 5 years. Now, I didn't say 3 to 5 days. I didn't say 3 to 5 weeks. I didn't say 3 to 5 months. 3 to 5 years, okay? Just sell out for 3 to 5 years. And here's what's cool. The next 3 to 5 years are going to pass anyway, right? They're going to pass anyway. You might as well do it and invest those 3 to 5 years in something that could potentially get you financially free. Again, I didn't say guaranteed it's going to get you financially free, because I don't know. I mean, I don't know what your work ethic is. I don't know what if you're going to work on yourself and really do the things you need to do, but at least you'll have a chance, right? Now you might sit there saying, well, I don't even know if I have a chance. Here's how I can prove to you that you have a chance. Go look around at your company. And if there's somebody there making $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month, which I'm assuming there is, then the possibilities there for you, right? And you might sit there and say, well, they didn't go through, they didn't have to go through what I'm going through right now. How do you know? Right? They probably had to go through, their people too, right? They have to go through the same issues, the same challenges, the same situations, some of them maybe even worse, and still made it happen, right? So just make a decision, right? That you're going to say, you know what? In 3 to 5 years, I'm going to build a strong foundation of leadership. I'm going to have some independent people in my team. I'm going to have some leaders. And once you develop a couple of leaders, right? And again, that doesn't happen overnight, but if you develop a couple of key leaders, then you have the foundation to take your business, the sky's the limit, right? And so you have to have the right expectations. Let me give you number 2. Hopefully you're getting some value here, right? Number 2 is you want to build your business part-time. It's kind of piggybacking off number 1, because you're obviously not going to go out there and make $10,000 a month overnight, right? But you want to build your business part-time. As you're getting to the point where you could go full-time, you need to build your business part-time. There's nothing worse than building your business and having the stress of bills just on your back, on your shoulders, on your mind. You're sitting there talking to somebody, talking about your business, and they can just see the desperation on your face. They could just feel the vibe of desperation coming off you, right? Because you're giving off a vibe of, if they don't join, man, you're just not gonna be able to pay your bill, right? You don't want that. You want to come from a position of posture. You want to come from a position of, hey, look, this is what I'm doing. I'd love for you to come, but if you don't, I'm gonna go do it anyway. And the only way you do that is by having strong posture and not needing them to come do your business, right? And so network marketing was built for part-timers. It really was. If you look at network marketing and really study the industry, it was truly built for part-timers, right? People who want to make a couple $100 a month, or maybe a couple $1,000 a month. And then you'll have a few leaders that pop up and say, you know what, I want more. But 95% of the industry, maybe more than that, is made up of part-timers, and that's okay. That's what it's built for, right? So again, I just mentioned to you before, there's nothing more stressful than trying to build a network marketing business coming from a position of need, right? And so when it costs you money, this is when you should start thinking about going full-time in your business, is when it's actually costing you money to stay your job. Then you can start considering going full-time, and then and only then should you start thinking about going full-time, right? Number 3, and I think what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm actually going to break this up in maybe 2 or 3 videos and give you 3 key points, because I don't want to overwhelm you, right? You could take these 3 points and then go study them, and then in a couple of days I'll cut another video with another 3 points, and maybe in a couple of days I'll cut another video with another 3 points, so that way you can get it in bite-sized chunks and really digest it, okay? Because I don't want to overwhelm you with content and information. Especially if you're new, especially if you're doing this on a part-time basis. I think there's plenty of information and value that I just gave you in these 2 key points, all right, that you potentially can take your business to the next level. Number 3 is build your belief system. Guys, this is so key. This is so important, okay? You have to build your belief system, because understand that belief equals actions, right? Like, you're not going to do the right actions, though. You're not going to do what you need to do to build your business if you don't really believe that there's potential. If you don't really believe that it can happen for you, if you don't really believe there's a pot at the end of the rainbow, you're not going to do what you need to do. So belief equals actions. Actions equals results. Like, you're not going to get a check if you don't sponsor somebody, if you don't bring anybody into the business, if you don't help one of your team members bring people into the business, if you don't acquire customers, you're not going to get results, right? And when you get results, it equals more belief, because now you get a check. You're like, okay, this thing works. I'm going to go out there and do it again, right? But it all starts with belief. You need to have belief, okay, that it's actually going to work for you. You need to believe in not only yourself, which is obviously critical, right? But you need to believe in your company. You need to believe in your product. You need to believe in the industry itself. Like, if you think the industry is not like credible, right? If deep down in your soul, in the back of your mind, you think that this industry is not going to work, it's just impossible. Like, when you're talking to people, it comes out, right? I mean, if you can't get other people to believe in the industry if you don't believe in it, right? You can't get other people to believe in your product and opportunity if you don't believe in it. You need to create belief in yourself. That's the key, and then everything else will happen for you. And how do you build belief? You do it by attending everything your company puts on, right? Local meetings. Most of you guys, you have a weekly meeting that's going on in your company, maybe some, training that goes on Saturday. You want to attend those things, especially if it's local. Get your butt there. There's nothing like, getting yourself to a local meeting, learning, being around other people, right? It's not so much the content, because look, let's be honest, right? Some of the content is repetitive. You're probably going to hear things that you've heard already, but that's not why. That's not what makes those things powerful. What makes those things powerful is getting yourself in the environment, right? With other people that are excited, that are motivated, that want to go do what you want to go do. It's like a support group almost, right? I mean, there's power in that. And so you want to get yourself there, get yourself around that atmosphere, that culture, that environment. You also want to attend webinars, any type of webinar, training webinars that are going on. I mean, you're basically attending them from the comfort of your home, right? I mean, there should be no reason why you're missing these webinars. Conference calls, even easier because you're just on your phone and you're just listening in. But there's a lot of content, a lot of training that goes on, especially on, your company training calls. And then obviously live big events like national conventions, things of that nature. I mean, you just see the big picture, right? When you go to these events and you see other leaders that are at where you want to be at, and they're making 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000 a month, and they give their testimonial, their story. They talk about what they've been through, and you can relate to that. Oh, forget it. That's when things really start to happen for you, because now you really start to build big time belief, because you're like, you know what, if they went through that and they still made it, and they're no different from me. I mean, I know that's what happened for me when I went to my first big event in this industry, and I saw other people that I could relate with, people that were my age, came from where I came from the same local area, and they were making $10,000 a month and $20,000 a month and so forth. I was like, man, okay, they can do it, right? I mean, I might not be as good as them now, but if I can get half of their results, man, it's still better than where I'm at right now, right? I mean, that was my mentality, and so my belief started to go up and up and up. And when I started to build belief, everybody around me started to build their belief, because I started to go out there and get results. And so all my buddies that were in the business with me, they were like, man, if he can get a check, I can go get a check. And it just snowballed. And we were able to hit the top position in that company in 13 months, right? Coming from no background, no experience. I was like a 23-year-old kid, hit the top position in that company in 13 months. It was pretty spectacular, right? And so here's the deal. If you're struggling, you need to check your belief system. Because really, that's where it's at, okay? You might sit there and say, well, I'm struggling because I don't have nobody to talk to. That's not true. I mean, if you're on Facebook and you have, some of you guys are on Facebook and you have a couple hundred friends, you're on LinkedIn, there's people all around you all the time. You go attend your kids' soccer games and your kids' basketball games, and, you're at the mall every week and there's people all over the place. Don't sit there and say, well, there's no people. I don't have any people. There's people. You just don't believe enough in your company. You don't believe in the industry. You don't believe enough in yourself to approach those people, right? So whatever excuse you might be having right now to why your business isn't where it needs to be or where you want it to be, a lot of times if you peel back the onion layers, if you look beyond the excuse you're making, it's because it's your belief, right? You might say, well, I don't have time. I'm so busy. Well, anybody can make time for something they feel is important, right? I mean, if they feel like something's not important, they're not going to make time. So if you're in the back of your mind, in your subconscious mind, you're telling yourself, well, this is not really going to work for me. I mean, nobody's going to be interested. I don't even believe in the product. Well, obviously you're not going to make time for anything, right? Because deep down, you're just like, it's not going to work. But if you're like, you know what, this is going to happen for me in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, I'm going to go out there and make it happen. This is awesome. And you're just, you have your belief, coursing through your body, you're going to make the time, right? Because everybody can make the time. Some of you guys who sit there and say, well, I don't really have, an hour a day to do a call, to do a webinar, to get on the phone with people, to connect with some people on Facebook. those are the, some of you guys might be saying that, but then you find yourself sitting there and spending an hour watching American Idol, or spending an hour on, YouTube watching, whatever, all the junk that's on YouTube, right? And so if you have belief, that's where everything starts to happen. So look, let's focus on those three keys, and then I'm going to come back in another video, in another blog post, and give you keys 4, 5, and 6. Now, what you want to do is you want to, again, depending on where you're at, where you're watching this, I might leave a link at the bottom of this video here or somewhere underneath the post, but go to recruitwithease.net. Here's the website right here. It's recruitwithease.net. If you're interested in finding out how to generate leads, how to build a list, which I'm going to go into in some of the other keys, you're gonna need to have some tools, some training that's going to help you. Okay, so go to recruitwithease.net, get some information there. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, or if you're on my email list, you can. I usually reply to my emails pretty quickly. Hit me up there. So with that being said, hopefully you got some value here. This is Jaime Soriano from Long Island, New York, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great day, guys.